Hi guys, and thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Everything Local. Today I'm joined by Joanne from All Round Conveyancing. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. So tell us a little bit about you and about the business. So it hasn't been in the area for that long, but you've been doing it for a while. So tell us a bit about that.
So June 2013, I opened in Baralla. I grew up in Baralla and I had my mother around that area, so I opened around there. About a year and I think it's a little bit over a year and a half ago, February of last year, I decided to move it into this area, and ever since I've been here.
Yeah. So why Thornlea? Because your office is in Thornlea near the overpass, which goes over to the station. So tell us, why did you choose Thornlea as an area?
It was actually a fluke. I just was walking around the area trying to figure out where to go, and there was an actual shop here that was up for rent, and I called and it went from there.
Yeah, nice one. And you don't live too far away from here. I think last time we spoke was Warunga. Is that right?
Correct.
You're still around there?
Yep, still there.
Yeah, good stuff. So tell us about the journey in business. So you've been doing it for quite a long time.
Yep.
How did you get into the industry, and I guess what have you learnt over that time?
So I started straight out of school. I became a legal secretary, and then I decided that I wanted to study conveyancing, studied law, then went back to conveyancing, did that with some companies, and then went out on my own after I got retrenched.
Okay.
To be honest, and that's how I went out.
It's amazing how those sorts of things happen. So out of COVID, what I found is that obviously I speak to a lot of people and they're like, oh, I've lost my job, so I'm going to go and open up a business and follow the one thing that I'm passionate about. So I think that the silver lining out of all of this that's happening is people are really following their dreams. Yeah. And that would have been something similar for you. I mean, you're already in that space, but it was either go and work for someone else or open your own business.
Yeah, and I decided just to open.
Yeah.
Take the chance.
Yeah. And is running businesses in your family, in your blood, or is it?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. No one in my family runs a business.
Yeah. So how have you found that experience opening up your first business? What have you learned during that time?
Massive learning curve. So I've done a few things that were wrong, few things that were right. It just gets easier with time. It's easier to handle with time.
Yeah. Yeah. So you learn things over time. Yeah. And so it's just you in this environment, or have you got people that help you? What's your sort of team set up at the moment?
I'm by myself at the moment, but I've got one person that comes and goes, so part-timer.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, and so what was it like growing the business? Like, how did you go about finding leads and people that wanted to use you? What did you do in the early days to generate business?
Early days, I went out, saw real estate agents. I actually advertised in the newspapers, Facebook at one point, and all that other stuff. But yeah, it was more going out and speaking to people. And because I had grown up in the area, people knew who I was from the beginning. So it was completely different to setting up here. Yeah,
of course. And I guess it's in the environment that you're in terms of the business that you run, you could be anywhere in Australia or the world essentially and still be able to run your business. A lot of the stuff is done online now via PEXA, is that right?
That's correct. So a lot of it's done via PEXA.
Yeah, that's interesting. And how was the change going over to PEXA from being the paper-based and like we had to email contracts and do all that sort of stuff, which has changed a lot now? How's that change been?
It's actually been a good thing because you kind of know when there's going to be issues before you actually attend settlement and everything falls over. So it's kind of like more secure when people are booking removalists and so forth. So it's a lot better.
Yeah. And is it a quicker process or is it a much similar time frame in terms of the process?
It's a similar time frame minus the actual settlement process, because if you've got simultaneous and so forth that happen, what happens if you're doing paper settlements, sometimes they go for hours, whereas online it doesn't, which is good.
Yeah. Okay. So like in business for quite some time, what's 2 or 3 things that you could pass on to someone else that's thinking opening up, whether it be conveyancing or lawyers or anything along those lines? What's some key takeaways that you could pass on to someone else, lessons learned or, things you would do moving forward?
I would say stick it out because it's not going to be easy to begin with.
Yeah.
So stick it out, get yourself some good people around you, that type of stuff.
Yep. Any lessons learned that you could pass on to people, the mistakes that you've made that you sort of would not do essentially not do next time?
I'm trying to think now. You got me there. Yeah. You really do. I think just be really cautious and make sure that when you're advertising and you're paying for advertising, make sure that it is going to help you and you just don't go straight into it, because I've done that a few times. I've gone, that sounds like a good idea, and I've gone straight into it and it's actually not benefited at all. So do research surrounding that type of stuff. Yeah. Research your area, see who's around you. I think that's actually a good idea too.
Yeah. And I think that, there's a lot of emphasis on marketing, social media and all those sorts of things. But the way you've set up the business with going to meet people, which is how we met. I used to be down the road in another business and you knocked on the door, you gave me a call and you're like, hey, can we catch up? And you've just built a relationship over time. So that's that sort of, you'd call it old school approach, would you say, in terms of just getting face to face with people?
Yeah, I think it does work. That works as well as social media and everything else. It all just starts merging together.
Yeah, definitely. Look, it takes a little bit of time doing it that way, I'd imagine. Yeah. Have you found that that's been receptive in this area with people that you're going out to meet?
It took a while, but I found as of recently that it has been.
Yeah.
It did take a little while, and I understand because I hadn't been in the area. No one knew who I was or anything like that. So I do get that.
Yeah, of course. So what's next for the business? What's the plan moving forward? What would you like to see happen?
At the moment, I'm in growth phase. So I want to grow, maybe hire a couple of girls and go from there.
Yeah. You got the office space for it and it's in a good location, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you've got everything set up for more people, which is great. And has that always been, like, it's the first thing I noticed when I came in here. I know it's just you and you've got someone that helps you part-time, but you've got other screens and the setup to give you the ability to go and grow. Is that something that's been entrenched in you for a while, where you've just sort of said you've always had a vision in your head as to where you'd like to take the business? Is that?
Yes. Yeah. So when I was in Barella, I did have staff, but obviously moving out here, they were local. I couldn't keep anybody. And then when I came here, it was a little bit different. So it's always been in the plans to actually grow.
Yeah. Are you in that position now where you'd like to go and take some people on?
I'm thinking of it, yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you're doing it at the time that you're doing it, right? Like just COVID worry you that maybe business may not continue to be the way that it is, or is that not a fear for you?
When it first came out, we did get worried, but I found that this year's a lot busier than last year, and across the board in conveyancing, all my conveyancer friends have said the same thing, so it hasn't affected us at all.
Yeah. And why do you think that is? I mean, like, I'm in the property space and listing numbers are down, as I mentioned on the market review just before. Like there's less stock, but there's more starting to come. Do you think that there's less conveyancers? Like, have you found that people are leaving the industry because of what's happening, or do you think there's just more people out there selling and stuff?
I think it could be that the first home buyers are out at the moment and the rest of it, because obviously they've got a chance to go in. Yeah. I know that you said that there is, and you don't feel it. I know you said that there is, the listings are down, but it doesn't feel like that. Yeah. I don't know actually what it is with us. I haven't heard of anybody actually closing or anything like that. Yeah. I've actually heard of people opening, believe it or not.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think you're quite fortunate in the industry that you're in and your ability to do anything anywhere. Yeah. So like we wouldn't go and sell in Barella, hypothetically speaking, but to do paperwork for properties in Barella for you is pretty normal, right? And to do other areas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no restriction in the area that you can go to?
We can do New South Wales, but we're not licensed to do interstate.
Okay. Yep. Do some conveyancers do interstate as well?
Some do, but then they'd have to go get licensed and PI and the rest of it over there.
Yeah. Okay. And not worth you going down that path, is that right?
I've thought about it, but I'm not going to go into Victoria right now and actually learn.
I don't think anyone wants to go there at the moment.
I was actually thinking of going into Victoria, but like as in into the Victorian space and learning, because I used to do that type of work in my old work. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we appreciate you being on the podcast. Like it's been amazing to see the journey of the business from where it started, because I was able to meet you in the very early days and then have a bird's eye view of what you've been able to accomplish. And when we've sent you leads, there's been people that have been really, really well looked after, but you're not sitting on your hands here. You're actually going out, interacting with people. You've now got someone running or helping run your social media as well, which is starting to come out a little bit. If people want to connect with you, what's the best way to find you?
Email. I've got everything: website, emails, apps. I've got an app. Everything.
You got an app? Okay.
Yeah, I've got an app as well where you can download, ask for quotes, trace your matter and everything.
Yeah, really? Okay. Yeah. And so when someone uses you for conveyancing, they go into the app and there's app updates. Is that how that works?
So they're real-time updates. So, for instance, you can actually also ask for it to text you, and it'll text you updates. So let's say for real estate agents, it'll tell you that something's booked in you expect a phone call for a pre-settlement inspection. It'll tell you when things settle, that type of stuff. If I want to actually put in documents for clients or even for real estate, you can go in and do that. Yeah,
okay. And was that something that you've had built personally, or okay? So was that part of another system that you use?
Yeah, it's a system it's a separate system, but it's part of a system that can be used.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Yeah, because I know apps can be quite expensive.
Yes.
I'm thinking to myself, man, that would cost a lot of money to go down that path.
Yeah.
Yeah, love
good little company.
Yeah, good on you. Well, thank you again for being on the podcast. We appreciate you being on here. I wish you all the success with everything that you're doing moving forward. And guys, if you need a conveyancer, come and see Joanne just down in Thornley. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the Everything Local podcast with Josh Saliba. We really want to push the community and showcase the local businesses by providing them a platform to tell their story. Support these businesses by following the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you are a business or know of a business in the local area and would like to feature them on an episode, please contact Josh Saliba with the contacts provided in the show notes. Tune in next week for another episode of the Everything Local podcast.